We all know that the genie and lamp salesman in the opening scene were one and the same in Aladdin, or noticed the priest getting a little overexcited in the Little Mermaid's wedding scene. Also worth mentioning is the infamous naked woman in the window in The Rescuers. In today's 5 hidden Disney eggs you may have missed, we're pointing out some key cameos that Disney characters have made in other Disney movies. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Aladdin and Ariel IRL. Yes, this is an actual thing. The vultures in the Jungle Book were based on the Beatles, and Ursula was based on a 70s singer by the name of Divine. On top of that, 2 of our most beloved Disney characters from the original animated cartoons were based on 2 celebrities who ended up becoming enormous sensations. Disney really knew how to pick them, it seems. The Mickey Mouse Club alone has always been a hotbed of soon-to-be celebritydom, whether we actually appreciate their ultimate contributions or not. So it might not surprise you to learn that Aladdin was designed to look like Tom Cruise, and Ariel was designed to imitate Alyssa Milano's mannerisms and voice. If you go back and take a look at Aladdin, you can see the young Tom Cruise features in his face, especially if you put it up against a picture from the Top Gun days or earlier. He's got that mischievous smile and that glint in his eye, and it really is hard to forget once it's been pointed out. It's just too bad that Aladdin had to go nuts and become a Scientologist after going through all that trouble to defeat Jafar and save Agrabah. If we were his subjects, we'd certainly be leaving the kingdom for greener pastures right about now. Still, Disney couldn't have known he'd go off the deep end, and we still think that Aladdin's awesome, so no harm, no foul there. Ariel, on the other hand, is a little more difficult to decipher. They were focused less on looks and more on personality traits. They wanted her to be a relatively naive young girl, and they hit the nail on the head there. The actress was just starting her career and was known to be sweet and demure as far as the public was aware. As far as we're concerned, that's still a staple of her character in real life, as well as most of her characters on the silver screen. It really is a great comparison, and she's an awesome model to use for inspiration. The real defining feature that Ariel has is her shocking red hair, which obviously contrasts with Milano's more subdued locks and makes it difficult to see. When you start paying attention to how Ariel moves, acts, and talks, however, it kicks in and the likeness reveals itself. Just take a look again and look for the similarities. Once you see them, much like with Aladdin, you won't be able to see anything else. Then again, both those actors aren't doing much on the big screen these days, so it's worth noting that this won't be something that your kids will be into. The heyday of animated movies, at least in the classic Disney sense, is on its way out, and only time will tell what takes its place. Number 4. The Black Cauldron. One of Disney's earlier movies that didn't really make it to the big screen was The Black Cauldron. It branched out and had a bit of a different core plot that just didn't work out for him. This was back when Disney was a relatively young company and not near the worldwide behemoth that we know today. That being said, The Black Cauldron still has a lot of fans around today, and it still remains a good watch for kids. It's got the adventure and mythical creatures that we come to expect, but is less grand than the movies that really made their mark for Disney. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have its fair share of Easter eggs. Disney animators really love to mess with us, and we're sure that most of them were pretty tweaked for most of their waking hours. The Black Cauldron's cameo appearance is none other than Tinker Bell from Peter Pan, and you have to look really carefully or you might just miss her. She pops up in the scene where our adventurers make their way to the mythical fairy kingdom deep underground. As they pass through, they're surrounded by fairies flitting and floating around them, making for a dazzling and enchanting sight. One of these fairies is the beloved Tinker Bell. She's really tiny and tough to see, but that's just Tinkerbell being Tinkerbell. With so many animated movies to draw from and so many animators working on the same movies together, these little appearances are bound to arise. Why not pay homage to Tink when fairies are making an appearance? It can be tiring work as an animator, and was especially so when everything was done by hand, step by minuscule step. To relieve the tedium, animators begin to resort to impish jokes and cameo appearances. It helped to keep things fresh and fun for both the animators and the audiences, although some of them were known to push the boundaries a little. This one was harmless, and so is our next Easter egg cameo that features Disney's most beloved dogs helping each other out by leaping off one set of pages and onto another. Number 3. 101 Dalmatians. And here we go with another movie that's probably older than all of our viewers. Unlike The Black Cauldron, this one is probably still known by most of you. If you don't, you should get on board. At the end of the day, everyone loves 101 Dalmatians, and those who don't just haven't seen it yet. It's got everything a good suspense and action thriller needs. It's basically Taken in a tamer, less shoot-'em-up based Disney universe. It's still got enough grit to keep you on the edge of your seat though. Pongo is the no-nonsense dad who's ready to take on anything to get his pups back from a scheming villain, Cruella. Our unlikely hero, Pongo's just an ordinary pup when all is said and done though, so he does need to enlist a little extra help. We're going all the way back to 1955's Lady and the Tramp for this one, which melted even the coldest hearts when it first came out. If you're up on your trivia, you'll also remember Jock, that feisty Scottish terrier who also makes a surprise cameo appearance. He was one of those supporting actors that really stepped up to the plate and hit it out of the park, at least by Disney standards. He's not only a lovable hero in his own world, but also made sure to stop by the set of 101 Dalmatians to help the puppies make their escape. What a guy. And then there's the Twilight Howl scene where the big reveal occurs. Even if you completely forgot about it up until now, that's a scene that'll always ring a bell. If you're still a little foggy, it's the part of the movie where all the dogs all over the city throw their heads back and really go nuts, just belting it out. Big scene, great effect, lots of spooky howling. Not gonna lie, we'd end up bolting our door and locking ourselves in the bathroom for the night if all the neighborhood pups ended up going crazy all of a sudden. We get that they hate sirens, but that howl would be freaky. If you look around as the camera shows all the dogs all over the city, mid-wail, you can clearly see both Lady and the Tramp on either side of Pongo, staring off into the distance, doing their part. That also means that as a couple, they were still going strong 6 years later, which isn't saying much back in 1961, but today that's like winning a marathon. It's also good to see that they kept up their good spirits and were able to pitch in when the Dalmatian puppies needed their help. Number 2. The Little Mermaid. Even Disney newcomers love The Little Mermaid. It's got princesses, love, and a big old marriage scene on a tall ship for those of us who dig that kind of stuff. And then it's got sword fights, pirates, sea kings, witches, and all that action and adventure stuff for those of hardier stock. We're drawing your attention away from that dirty little priest and focusing in on the parties. More specifically, we noticed that a number of Disney royals made their way to join the festivities. The most noticeable of these are the King and Grand Duke from Cinderella being escorted on board Prince Eric's ship. Given that the movies are based in the same basic universe and share a lot of similarities to begin with, this isn't surprising. What is a bit of a shock is the royals that present themselves in the distance when King Triton's daughters hold a concert for his subjects. If you look very carefully, you can see the all-time Disney champions Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy proudly parading in and mingling with the guests. If you watch the moving crowds at the right time, you'll see them just behind King Triton as he holds court and oversees the arrivals. We think this is great. It's all well and good when you add characters that fit into a scene perfectly, but adding Disney heavyweights that have no reason being there to begin with is an absolute win in our books. We also felt that we should give a shout out to a character who made an appearance that was obvious in hindsight, but still would have been a thrill for any of those concert goers. That special guest of honor is none other than Kermit the Frog. On a less happy note, this is the very same frog who recently made headlines when the actor voicing Kermit was sacked amidst an admittedly hilarious scandal. From what we've heard, the actor was basically dragging the character down into his own personal hell, and the company decided they had to do what was best for the little guy. Seriously, we can't make this stuff up. He was let go because basically he was making Kermit sound sad and full of self-loathing. Poor guy got smacked by Miss Piggy one too many times. He's recently attempted to speak out and chastise Disney, who say he was let go over unacceptable business conduct. Wow, we don't know who's right or wrong in this, but think it's a little unnecessary to be dragging Kermit's name through the mud here. No stranger to drama, Kermit responded by saying, "It's not easy being green." Wise words. Number 1. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Okay, for our number 1 Disney cameo, we figured we'd toss one in that we missed during the first few times watching it. The Hunchback of Notre Dame wasn't ever our favorite, although it did have quite a fan following. It's still never ranked as one of Disney's greatest hits, but it's still popular enough to ring a bell when called upon. What it lacks in obvious star power, however, is more than made up for with some well-placed cameos that are well worth going back to look for. First up is Belle, doing what she does best. She's seen bustling through Paris with her nose buried in a book. With no time to waste and so much to do, she's gone in a split second. You can see her crossing a Parisian square during the panoramic cityscape displayed during Quasimodo's rendition of Out There. Again, it's easy to miss her, so keep a lookout. Cueing the song helps a lot with that because it narrows your search down a little bit, but that's still not everyone hiding in Paris during the movie. During the suspenseful scene where Quasimodo is hanging off the edge of the cathedral, you were probably too distracted to notice a four-legged friend proudly protecting the city. It's a good thing he was also encased in stone, or else Quasimodo would have had to deal with both heights and a stink to end all stenches. If you haven't already worked it out, we're talking about the gargoyle on the ledge above the action. The stone protector is actually Pumbaa from The Lion King. We don't know how he got up there, but he still doesn't seem to have any worries, so that'll come as a relief. Hope you enjoyed the video, folks. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button before you head out if you're new. That's all you have to do. Come on, just click it. I know you want to. Oh, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. I heard it gives you superpowers in the future or something. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.